bad, not bad at all. Just saying, plenty on again Saturday. Ascot, the main focus. You're going to chip in with York. I think you've got one at Newcastle. I mean, we went as far afield first week. We had you on as a Hamilton evening meeting. Then we went to Cartmel and all over the place last week. Haydock, Market Raisin, etc. So last week did not go well for me. 4 picks, 4 losers. Terrible, no excuses. SD put 11 horses up last week. SD, just the 11. Wasn't much better than me, but did have a winner, and he did. The one that he was on about trading at a much lower price in running came true, and it traded at about half the SP price. So we've got
a quarter.
We've got SD. We've got in play angles. We're all over the country.
We've got another one. We've got another one this week as well.
Right, we'll come to that later. We're back again. Group 1 action at Ascot this weekend. The King George. Like I say, usually a really, really good card, but I think SD agrees with me. We've had a rare debrief this afternoon, and we was a little bit underwhelmed away from the main event. But we'll come to that. Like I say, SD and myself will be in attendance separately. I'll be on business. SD's on pleasure. Hopefully, we can catch up at some stage. There's 7 races on ITV on Saturday. 4 from Ascot, 3 from York. Firstly, SD, how are you feeling on this Thursday evening?
Well, I think the entire country's sweating like a pregnant nun, aren't they?
Yes.
It's just horrific. I cannot stand hot weather.
Well, there's been plenty of hot weather at Ascot this week and elsewhere in the country. They've been putting 10 mil on every other day, I believe, at Ascot. It's currently good to firm. They're expecting some thunderstorms after racing on Friday. They also race Friday. And then they could have between 10 and 12 mil between now and racing on Saturday. That is the official forecast. But given they're putting on average 5 mil a day on, it might not change it too much. We'll go straight on to the Group 1, King George and Queen Elizabeth, the stakes SD. There's a couple in there that want the rain, and there's the market leader that doesn't, in Love. I was just, this is what we expect. This is what the King George should be. Last year was not great, poor at best. 3 runners, Enable, Sovereign and Japan, I think. 3 runners, it was ended up being bad ground. But now we're back to what the King George should be for the traditionalists. A leading, one of the leading older horses in Love versus a Derby winner recently from Epsom, a Dayar. But it's not just about those 2. There's got the 6 runners, but all of them have got a bit of a story to tell, to be fair. 6 is less than usual. The 11-year average on my record is about 7.4, 7.5. But it's a proper race, definitely. I mean, just a quick run through. I mean, we've got Love, the star of last year. She won the Guineas and the Oaks and the Yorkshire Oaks before a season curtailed somewhat through inactivity more than anything, but showed she still got it with a front-running performance at Royal Ascot in the King Princess of Wales. Pretty good that day, I thought. Particularly, she'd been off nearly 300 days, something around there. Quick ground preferred. Like I say, thunderstorms are forecast, but it shouldn't get bad like we saw at Royal Ascot. A Dayar is now at 2-1, 5-2 in the market. Love, as I mentioned, is 11-8. But a Dayar, won the Derby by 4.5 lengths. I mean, that takes some doing in any year. We can pick the holes as much as we want in the form, but that takes some doing. A Derby winner by 4.5 lengths. Somewhat of a shock on the day. 50-1 in the morning, went off 16-1. A bit of not a phantom gamble, obviously it was a genuine one, but yeah, strange under the radar gamble, if you like. But he beat Hurricane Lane. Hurricane Lane was in third that day, 5.5 lengths behind a Dayar, and Hurricane Lane, we know what he's done since. He's won the Irish Derby Group 1. He's won the Prix de Paris Le Grand Prix, or whatever it's called in France. So he's done well for the form. Lone Eagle didn't run at Epsom, but was second in the Irish Derby behind Hurricane Lane. But I think there's pretty big question marks about most of the runners in the Irish Derby, other than Hurricane Lane. The Curragh does favour front runners. Lone Eagle front run. I think he was flattered a little bit by that, and there wasn't a lot in behind, particularly from the O'Brien yard. They was pretty disappointing. Lone Eagle's in there at 11-2. Mishriff at 9-1. Could be the forgotten horse here, particularly in the market. I mean, I put him up for the Eclipse. He was brushed aside that day by St. Mark's Basilica. No excuses, really. Tanked into that race, tanked into the business end, as he does, head down, almost on his chest. He emptied out pretty badly. John Gosden said he wasn't 100% fit. and he made a mistake in running him, not fit or something. He said something along them lines today. But we've heard that all before from Gosden, so I'm not getting caught in hook, line, and sinker by what he's saying. But he is entitled to come on for the run. He's possibly better over 10 furlongs. Mishriff might be seen to better effect in the Juddmonte International in about 3 or 4 weeks' time at York. But he's having a go here over 12 furlongs. What I would say, and I said it before, that form of his Maidan win in March is very, very good from Mishriff. Very good. Just going further down the market, Wonderful tonight, 12-1. Will want all of the Thunderstorms to arrive and possibly more. Won a known trial for this in the Hardwick Stakes at Royal Ascot. Very impressive that day. Apparently, she was only 85% fit, so she can do a demolition job like that when 85% fit in the Hardwick. There's 4 horses have ran since that were behind that day. 2nd, 3rd, 6th and 7th have all won group races. Broome, Japan, Hookham, and I forgot the other one. But yeah, 4 have all gone on to win good races. Broome actually won a Group 1, but it was a Mickey Mouse Group 1 in France last time. And Broome actually runs here at 33-1. Likely to set the pace, possibly alongside Lone Eagle. Before that's just a quick run through of all runners. We won't do that. We don't do that for every race, but the big ones we tend to do. So purely on prices, I'll be keeping my eye on the weather and the prices. There's no bet as yet, and there's no commitment as yet. But Mishriff, I think, is overpriced at 9-1. Like I say, that form at Maidan is very, very strong. Yes, the 2nd and 3rd from that race have won proper Grade 1 races, but in the Far East, so possibly a little bit under the radar. Like I say, I think he tanked through the race at Sandown, but emptied out pretty badly. If he is fitter, and that's what we're led to believe by the trainer, who often says things like that, hopefully he will show better here. There's no real each-way angle, so it might be a small play at 9-1 win only, but it will only be small, and I think it's a great racing prospect despite the 6 runners. SD?
I very, very much agree with you. Just a couple of points here. I would trust John Gosden's word 200 times more than David Manoussier's. So, with all this claptrap about the filly being 85% fit, I mean, I don't buy that for a second. Look, Gosden's won this race lots and lots of times. I think the other point is Mishriff's run over 12 furlongs once. Won over 12 furlongs once. I can understand why I said he may not be fit for the Eclipse. And if you look at the official ratings, and I know you don't like doing this, but Mishriff is joint top rated.
Yep.
So he's a bet at 9-1.
Yep.
I'm not saying Love can't win. I'm not saying Andy R can't win. But he's a bet at 9-1. And the other one to chuck in there is Wonderful tonight for the aforementioned David Manoussier, because look, the price, we alluded to this earlier on the phone, the price of that horse for the Arc is very similar. He isn't going to run it unless it's softish ground. Now, we should be a little bit more transparent, but that's where we are at the moment. Now, you can get 14s with Boyles, but nobody has an account with Boyles because they're so strict. But I think she'll run very, very well if she runs and they get the thunderstorms. Just a word on the weather.
Yep.
The worst of the rain would appear to be just west of Ascot. So if you were to draw a line sort of Reading, Oxford, that sort of area, I think they'll get more thunderstorms. That's what my weather guy's telling me, who's a lot more accurate than Chris Stickles is.
I just think that, I agree with you in the main, SD. You could make a case for most of these winning, and the only one I would be against at the price is Lone Eagle. I think that's too short. I'd like to say flattened by the front running ride last time, and probably Broome I don't think is good enough. Now, Wonderful tonight might prove not good enough. She's won a Group 1 against her own sex twice last year, one at Ascot and one at Longchamp. But this is a proper race here. But as we discussed earlier, I think you could call it, how they go non-runner no bet. I think you could almost say no rain no bet, because Wonderful tonight, if she will only run if there is some rain, and if there is rain, a price will come in from 12-1. That 14-1 with Boyles is long gone, SD. They're 9 now, but that 12-1.
Are they? They've got balls the size of cashew nuts, haven't they?
At 12-1, you might as well back it.
Well, you might as well back it, and you go back to Lale.
Yeah.
I mean, I know this is not seen as great practice by the bookie, but don't let them fool you. This horse, if it pours down, in the proportions required for it to run will be a much shorter price, and it's an absolute stonky back to lay bet. So yeah, it's fairly simple to me. I mean, if it absolutely pulled down, I'm sure it'd end up bottle running low, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's either a back to lay if she takes part, or it's a back and get money back should it not rain. I mean, yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. So yeah, no massively strong opinions, but a great race in prospect. So that's the feature done. The first race on ITV Saturday is the 150 from Ascot, a Group 2 for 2-year-old fillies over 6 furlongs. I was keen to take on the market principles here because the likes of System, Desert Dreamer, I just don't think the form looks that strong, to be honest. System was a little bit of a shock winner in a Newmarket listed race last time. I think she was 22-1. That form doesn't look too strong to me. Desert Dreamer was a neck behind System that day, but it's turning into a little bit of a Newmarket specialist, Desert Dreamer, and doesn't look quite up to this level, if you ask me. So that leads me to the one I do like, a bit less unexposed, Delmona, Tom Dascombe. I just think that you could make a strong argument that Delmona should have won her last 2 starts. She ran in the super sprint last week. Took a while to get a clear run. There was 22 runners. You're always going to get stories like that, don't get me wrong. But once it opened up, she flew home. Couple of taps, basically finished on a bridle. I thought that was pretty eye-catching from Delmona last week. And then the time before that, ran in that System race. She was fifth in the race behind System. Again, flew home when the gaps opened up. Hit the front there at Newmarket in the race that System won. Matched at 1.36. But seemingly when Delmona hit the rising ground, didn't particularly enjoy it, got a bit disorganised. I think the stiff 6 at Ascot might stretch her speedy genetics a tad, but I think it's worth taking a chance on Delmona at 10-1. That's definitely where my money is going, and my most confident selection of the day without question. SD?
I couldn't disagree with you more.
Oh, good.
I watched that Newmarket race back. Desert Dreamer should have won that Newmarket race. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Delmona wasn't particularly unlucky, I didn't think, and System just picked up the pieces. I think Desert Dreamer is a perfectly fair price with what she is. I don't think this is much of a race. I was actually talking to somebody who knows the Dascombe yard fairly well, and they do think a lot of Delmona. But again, look, she's a stone to find on official ratings, and I just don't see the attraction in her. Look, at a big price, you could make a case for Zane Claudette on the time of a Newmarket maiden relative to the race the day after. But I'd back Desert Dreamer, and I think she'll win.
Well, we disagree there because I think Desert Dreamer is a bit of a Newmarket specialist. She's had 5 starts in her career, 4 of them at Newmarket, where she's run really well in all of them, 2 seconds and 2 firsts. But then she ran at Ascot once on good to firm over 5 furlongs, so not too dissimilar to what she's going to encounter on Saturday. And she was 10th of 21.
She fell out the traps, didn't she?
She did on that day, to be fair, yeah. So I'll be on Delmona for that one, and SD is on Desert Dreamer. Both Desert Dreamer, I think I put it up there, so it's showing my disloyalties again because I put her up the other week, and yes, when she was placed. So we move on to the 225 1 mile handicap for 3-year-olds on the straight course. I didn't think this was a great race, and I was a tad disappointed, to be honest. I've spent a while looking at this today, and didn't have one massively strong opinion. Fantastic Fox is going to be favourite 3-1. Will be in many notebooks of many punters following his 1 length and 1 3/4 length third behind a certain Snow Lantern on his first start of this season. Debab was in second as well, so yeah, decent enough form. And given he's off 94. Some people might be attracted to that form, but he needs to be ridden a lot better, or needs to be ridden properly, because last time in a hot race at Ascot, at Royal Ascot, was over 10 furlongs. Fantastic Fox. Silvestre de Souza just set a ridiculous pace and fell in a hole. So we'll need to be ridden properly here. But the one I've landed on, SD, is Latest Generation. It's a tad reluctant. It's kind of a process of elimination. I don't think Guru and Isla Kai, who beat each other last time, is that good anyway. Titan Rock doesn't want this far. Mystery Smiles is carrying too much weight. That's what I made of it. Latest Generation flew home in a messy race at Newmarket last time. Has gone up £5 for even though he didn't win. So that's not brilliant, but I think this stiff 1 mile straight track at Ascot is right down his alley, and I do actually think he should be winning this. Wouldn't want a monsoon amount of rain, but as SD's already told us, he thinks Ascot's going to miss most of the rain. So latest generation 4-1 would definitely be the one for me, SD.
I disagree with you again.
Good.
Fantastic fox. I keep alluding to this, and I have nothing against Sylvester de Souza. I'm sure he's a lovely chap, but again, he rode this horse abysmally last time. On that run at Newbury, I think Fantastic Fox wins, and I'm kicking myself because I very nearly backed him anti-post earlier in the week. I think he'll win a race like this. It is notably weak to be on a supporting card on TV on a grand day such as this, and yeah, it's a bad race, and Fantastic Fox should win.
Yeah, well, there we go. It was split in the top of the market. What I would say there is, SD, I wouldn't have backed anti-post, and the reason is Roger Varian had the first and second favourite for this. Fantastic Fox being one of them, and he's only running one. So you as an anti-post punter, you'd have been playing the guessing game as to which one he was going to run. Onto a proper betting race here, the International Stakes handicap 7 furlongs at 3 o'clock. Usually there's a maximum field of 29, but only 22 are going here, so that could be a slight surprise. You'll do well. There's a lot in here that we've mentioned before multiple times. You'll do well to find a better handicapped horse than Matthew Flinders all year. He's officially £10 well in this race. He's about the third favourite at around 6-1. Matthew Flinders could well go off favourite. He was second in a listed race behind Safe Voyage last time. That's why his revised mark is going to be significantly higher than the 98 he gets to run off here. He'll certainly be popular. Motakeo ran away with the Bunbury Cup 2 weeks ago off a mark of 109, which takes some doing to win a proper handicap off 109. He's also similar to Matthew Flinders, £6 well in himself, but he gets to race here off just £3 higher than the Bunbury Cup win, and his new mark of 118 kicks in next week. So this is likely to be his last hurrah in handicaps. Motakeo, he could well be favourite, but he's very, very much dependent on fast ground. And I think he's worth taking on with the weather forecast and the fact that he's top weight in a 22 run at handicap. Danyar ran a quacker last time at the Royal meeting. She beat 26 horses by 3.5 lengths or more. It's just a shame that she didn't get past Island Princess, who was a bit of a blot on the handicap and wasn't for catching. But Danyar did nothing wrong that day. Island Princess has won a listed race since, so that's decent enough form. He's been around some good horses in his 10 start career. He's not won them all, but he's been finishing in and around some good ones. I think this looks an ideal race for him. I wouldn't put anyone off Danyar at 11-2-ish. My old mate Lord Rapscallion ran another big race, third behind Motakeo in the Bunbury Cup at Newmarket. He certainly didn't want to lead that day and was forced to do so under Holly Doyle. And I actually thought he did pretty well to plug on for third, Lord Rapscallion. He goes on off the same mark here. I see no reason why he can't go well again. William Miller 7 places each way. He's 14-1. So Lord Rapscallion will be one of my selections, and I'm entitled to put 2 up in a 22 runner race. So the other one will be Tomfre. He's 25-1. He's ran 2 really good races at the start of this season, Tomfre. One of them at Doncaster. I think the other one was at York. But then he went to Royal Ascot and basically had no chance at all. From a low draw, he was drawn wrong. All the action was over the other side. He ended up a comfortable third on his side of the race, but the form says he was 9th overall. He would enjoy a little bit of rain. He probably needs a little bit of rain, to be fair. 25-1. Tomfre would be my second choice, but there's loads in here that we've touched on before. But yeah, I think SD has got opinions on this race as well. SD, the biggest handicap race of the day.
It's a great race. It's a lovely race. I'll come to the selection in a minute. I was earwigging at Windsor the other week, actually, and Martin Dwyer was he was very, very certain that Epic Endeavour does not stay a mile, and it's back to 7. Now, I'm not going to back him because I think he needs a lot of rain, but if were it to rain, he's 33 with hills, 7 places, and he's generally a progressive sort. I just thought that was interesting what Martin Dwyer said there. Yeah. Nobody else heard it, so there's a little bit of inside info. Look, I think Danyar will win this. I'm going to keep it very, very simple. I think Daniel will win, and I would advise you split half your stake each way and the other half to win, probably on Betfair, where it'll be a much bigger price. The horse that beat him, Highfield Princess, has won a listed race since at the Royal Meeting. Look, he was 3.5 lengths clear of the third that day. Buick's on. He really should be. I think he should be clear favourite, and I will back him accordingly. Matthew Flinders is every single pundit in the country seems to love Matthew Flinders.
Yeah, not me.
No, but he's what's known in the game as a talking horse. He was second round Chester last time. I'm never a big fan of Chester, and before that you can judge him on. Look, he was 20th in the Hunt Cup. He certainly wouldn't be for me at 6-1.
Yeah,
at all.
Agree. And they've been messing around with his trip. I mean, in the last year, Flinders has ran over 10.5, 8, 7. This is over 7. It's going to attract the support. It's got Oshie Murphy on, who's in absolutely flying form. And the handicap, the official handicap says he's £10 well in, but he's not for me. I think Daniel's solid. I won't put you off that, SD, and I don't necessarily disagree with you, but it's going to take some performance to win this for Daniel off 106. I mean, he's gone up £5 for that effort behind Highland Princess last time. I mean, it's going to take some effort to win this off 106.
I think he'll win.
It's going to need to be a group horse in a handicap type territory, if you ask me. But yeah, so SD's on Danyar. He's put up a bit of a word. Who was the other one that you was looking at? Epic Endeavour.
Look, if it rains, I will be playing Epic Endeavour on the play markets because of what Martin Dwyer said that day at Windsor, and they ran it over a mile last time, which was bizarre. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Tomfre and Lord Rapscallion again, and we've just had a comment in the chat. Paul Harris is saying, "What about John Quinn's Titan Rock?" Yeah, that was in the 1 mile handicap. I think he's probably better over 7. I think that the mile probably stretches him a little bit. Titan Rock. I did look at him because he ran in that race at Newmarket in the same race as Latest Generation, but they very much fared differently in the same race. Titan Rock ended up drifting over to the far side, following the winner, actually, and Latest Generation zipped home on the near side. So, yeah, same race, but they had very different stories to tell. I think Latest Generation should be winning that race, if you ask me. SD, we know you.
Yeah, you just crackled up a bit. I might have to go outside. The signal's bad in the heat.
Oh dear.
The dish is probably melted.
Right, don't go mad like you did last week. But where else is your eye going this week? Are we going to anywhere like York or Salisbury, etc.?
We're going everywhere.
Oh, very good.
Do we go north to south?
Yeah, why not?
So we'll start up at Newcastle, which would be absolutely dreadful to attend. It's Her Lady's Day. Yeah. I'm sure it's lovely, really. There's a horse actually which really did interest me at the prices.
What time?
We're going at 3:55 for the Class 6 handicap.
So we started with the richest race in the British racing calendar. I think the King George still is, and now we're down to the Class 6 handicap at Newcastle, where the winner takes home £2,322. Fire away.
Yeah. Okay. Scorched Earth, if you go back a couple of years, it's very, very well weighted. He was running off 77. He was running off 125 over hurdles. He's off 53 today. Now, he's been with Robin Dickin. Now, without being libelous, I'm not a fan of Robin Dickin, put it like that. Now, they've switched him to Tony Coyle, who's pretty good with these sorts. Now, he got absolutely bombed in the betting last time, down to 100 to 30, and he did nothing. I'll give him one more chance. He's 9-1. Now, he may well drift. If he drifts, he probably won't win. But equally, he could go off at 3-1. I have absolutely no idea. But at those prices, at those weights, in such a downgrade race, I thought he was worth risking.
People looking at the form of Scorched Earth, seeing that his defeats have come by 20 lengths, 10.5 lengths, 55 lengths, 9.5 lengths, 15 lengths, and 40 lengths in his last 6 starts, may well be put off by that, SD. But you're getting the angles, and you're telling us to back it 9-1. Right, anywhere else where we're going?
Well, should we go south? We'll go down the A1, hit the A19 past us, watch the speed cameras, and arrive in York.
Excellent.
Well, 30,000 are predicted. I'll quickly run through your first race. Paul Midgley does like winning it. I thought Sun and Sunny was a good bet. He's 20s, I think. He's ready. He was back last week at Haydock. He didn't run such a bad race the time before, and I think 5 furlongs on fast ground in a bigger field is probably what he needs. So down to 72, I can chance him.
So that's Sun and Sani, number 10, 14-1 in the opener at York. Yep.
Yeah. I back Musica in the dash because I think he's a very good record in 6 furlong handicaps at the track. He won the race last year under identical conditions. He's only £1 higher. David O'Meara are running really well.
Yeah.
And he's got Angus Villiers taking 5 off. I think he's got everything going for him, and he's a very decent price.
And that's the only 6 furlong race in the world that is referred to as a dash. Because
you sound like Thomas.
Yeah, a dash to me is a 5 furlong race. Yep, Musica's 16-1. Yep, keep going, SD.
I wouldn't. I think Mahaffith is a better odds against. I think he'll win the York Stakes, which incidentally, I'm going to have a little rant about this. This race was put into the calendar 15 years ago. There are so many 10 furlong races at this time of year, and all it does is stifle competition. I don't think it should exist, but I think he'll win. Okay.
Yeah, you know me, I don't look at York particularly, but I think you've probably got a point there. Armory is possibly dangerous if it's quick ground. He absolutely loves quick ground. Yep, keep going. Move half S 5-4. Yep.
Right, we're going down the A1, down the A14 to headquarters. I think the 520 is a nice sprint handicap, but it's not particularly strong. And Dazzling Dan, who they've been trying to run over 7 a few times. Look, he won 6 furlongs, fast ground.
Preferably at Newmarket.
He likes Newmarket.
Yeah.
Tick, 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 tick. He's off 92. You know, he's been rated in triple figures in the past. I think he's a fair bet. What is he, 7-2, 4-1, something like that?
Yeah, he sure is. Yep.
I backed him.
Yep.
And now we'll whisk down the A14 and the M11 and the M25 and the A303, and then we'll get to Salisbury, shall we?
Yeah. What time?
6:05.
Okay.
There's a horse running called Glamorous Breeze. Now, she is quite well bred. She's related to Glamorous Anna, who's
quick.
Really, really quick out the straps.
Yeah.
And she's only rated 64, bless her. She ran on the 13th of July at Bath. The horse that beat her by a neck has won since. She's traded at, I think, 4-6 and 2-5 in running. She looks like she's going to win. She's not quite got home the last twice. At 7-2, she's an ideal back to lay proposition, and I'd be trying to lay her at 4-6 in running. I think she'll blast off from the front. She'll look like she's going to win, and I think she'll probably hold on. But take that insurance policy, viewers. Take the insurance policy.
Yeah, that'll be in the description. Like last week's back to lay, which did get laid in running, but didn't eventually win. So we've had 1 at Newcastle, 3 at York, 1 at Newmarket, and 1 at Salisbury from SD. There's just the one away from the ITV cameras for me. It's at the 320 at Newcastle, and it's a horse called Third Kingdom. It was a bit of an eye catcher at Sandown last time. Didn't get a clear run, and made progress under hands and heels late under David Egan. He's actually been dropped £1 in the handicap, despite finishing 3rd in that race. I think that's more than generous. Has won at Newcastle previously, back up to a mile. He is 100 to 30 best price. I just think that Third Kingdom is better than a horse rated 87, quite frankly. So yeah, I'll be on Third Kingdom in that race, and I'll be hoping that Wow Han, a horse that I've backed many times before and put up on here once or twice in the same race, does not win. He's had a bit of a rest, which worries me because I think he needed it, and Wow Han's 5-1. So I hope that Third Kingdom beats him, because my loyalties have ended with Wellhan. We've just had a couple of shout outs in the chat. Mike Wigginer, evening lads, evening Mike, how you doing? We've had a shout out for Pieman from Central Centre Circle podcast. He'll be back soon, Pieman, don't worry about it, he'll be back. He's working, he's badgering away in the background. The model horse racing and football tips is there in the chat. Gulliver's course and distant record at York since 2019, 0-1-0-1-1-6. Down to a workable mark, having one off higher here last year. 10-1's a good price about Gulliver, according to Lucas. Also from
just a Word on Gulliver.
Yep.
For me, he tends to run better at the October meeting in a nice, in soft ground. I'm trying to see if he ran in the race. He didn't actually run in the race last year, but I backed him last year actually in soft ground. I'd have an eye on him for that, to be honest.
Yep.
But O'Meara is in very good form.
Yep. He is. We've had a nod in the chat from Centre Circle Podcast about something called the Racing League, which starts next, I think it's Thursday, at Newcastle. A long time in the making, the Racing League. It's a bit of a team event. There's going to be 6 meetings with 6 racers at each meeting. The first one's at Newcastle next Thursday. There's 12 teams, 12 runners in each race, 1 per team. And they're sponsored by TalkSport, Odds Bible and stuff like that. And certain trainers and jockeys are allocated to each team. And it's just going to be, I don't know, it's a bit different. It's like the Shergar Cup on steroids, pretty much. And like you say, it takes place over 6 weeks.
Absolutely ridiculous idea. Racing is not a team sport. You back horses to win. You do not participate in teams to try and manufacture a result. I cannot stand the idea. I'm not against progress or anything like that, but I think it's an absolute monstrous idea for the betting public. Well, and I won't be betting it.
Well, SD is quite clear in his thoughts on it. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't particularly be for me. The Shergar Cup's not particularly for me, but I don't sit there and throw stones at such things from afar. If I would just,
The Shergar Cup should be run on a Wednesday.
Yeah. I just bypass things like that. I don't criticise from afar. If they want to have a go at bringing new audiences in, I mean, they always get a massive attendance at Ascot for the Shergar Cup and the like, but it's new money into the game, SD. That's the thing. I mean, people can.
Yeah, but just a general point, Adam, and ITV are bad at this as well.
Yep.
There are certain people who will never be interested in racing. So I do wish racing would concentrate on actually appeasing its stakeholders. And what I mean by that is don't try and look, I have absolutely no interest in, I don't know,
badminton,
boxing, or you like boxing, or netball or something like that. And I never will be. So it doesn't matter how much money you throw at me to do that. This is where racing becomes unstuck. You've got a lot of writers in the Racing Post who are just downright hell-bent on getting certain sectors of society interested in racing, and they never will be. And that I think is where racing is going wrong at the moment, and we should focus on other things.
No, I do agree with that. You're never going to appease some of them until you'll end up getting rid of the whip, or you'll go the whip reviews on now. You'll go down to three smacks instead of 6. Then they'll lobby in 5 years to go down to no smacks. Then they'll lobby for racing to finish altogether.
Well, racing should be concentrated. I'll try and keep this as brief as I can. I met an old friend of mine. He's in his 80s now, and he gets racing everywhere. And he couldn't get on at certain tracks because he didn't have an internet connection. This guy was racing 200 times a year. He comes back from a 12-month hiatus, and he could only get on at, I think it was Hexham and Newcastle. The rest of them were not interested. Now, if racing is neglecting people like that at the expense of people who will never be interested in the sport, I think that is downright wrong.
Yeah, that's one for. Well, at least we've covered that a little bit. Maybe we'll cover it in more depth in the future.
We can be positive about some things. Don't worry.
Oh yeah, we'll be positive about it.
The Sunday series, it'll be absolutely great. I'm sure you'll be taking your young family to Haydock, playing on the bouncy castle.
Yeah.
Under 18s go free at Haydock, remember?
Yep. August the 7th will be my first return as a punter, actually, in a non-working capacity to a racecourse. But anyway, that covers today. We'll have all the bets in the description as normal. We'll be hoping for some better profit or some profit at all in comparison to last week. Thanks for those joining us in the chat. Snowfall best since Zarkava, who I think I know who that is. It says he's got Poetic Flea at 3-1 for the Sussex Stakes at Goodwood. Good luck with that, Mr. Harrison, I think that is. We might be back with some Goodwood content. We might not. It depends how next week goes with work commitments.
I'm up in Scotland next week, so I might not get a phone signal. I'm at Perth and Perth. Just one quick word. There's a horse last week at Haydock. He won called Mabadra. He looked absolutely great in the paddock and is one to follow in much better class races, I would think.
Right, next time that runs, let us know. Right, thanks for tuning in, everybody, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.
Good evening.
Oh, I've pressed it. Yeah, don't say anything incriminating. I've